Are to find someone. What I'm looking for is someone with bold courage who will help define new direction, who will help chart us a course to get out of this wasteland that we're in. Somebody who will seriously take on rebuilding our manufacturing economy, someone who will seriously take on the long-term debt, who will look at dramatic reforms. Now I'm going to, at the risk of messing up here, I'm going to see if we can walk through a couple of slides here, and let's see. Everybody knows we've got a debt crisis. We've got a couple of quotes here of other people than myself. I mean, Ben Bernanke just the other night says, this is it. This is the problem. And he's not helping to do it much, but he's willing to now define it. And so he sat right in front of us 2 nights ago and said that. And then again, everyone is saying that the debt crisis threatens our national sovereignty, our national security. Well, he's not exactly this. Okay, this is the slide that I was looking for. This is the debt as it begins to accumulate in past 2011. This is the reason you can see that our economy simply fails out here around 2038. And we've got to seriously affect this. And then the everybody knows kind of those. Our debt is held by China. You see how much differential there is. Today there's quite a bit of differential back in 2007, which is, or 2011, which is right in here. You can see that spike. 2008 we had the economic problems on Wall Street, has pulled us down. We're starting to kind of ease our revenues back up, but the debt, that's that $1 trillion stimulus bill that President Obama put into place right in here. This is the scary part. I think we probably have this is exactly what I asked my staff not to do. Anyway, it's missing the 2 charts that I really wanted, but we'll get those for the next group. But basically, if you take a look at the breakdown, Medicare and Medicaid, no, it's not that one. It's okay. All right. If you can see it, this chart here is on the budget that we voted on yesterday. That's the track we put ourselves on. Now, don't get me wrong, I was not a real advocate of the budget yesterday. It was better than what we've seen. So this is what we face, and this is the new spending that we put in, but still we have to get out to 2050 before we start trying to reach balance, which I don't think that's a long way to turn government loose. So anyway, we'll pass those around, but know that Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, that's back to this original chart. This fiscal gap down here is $202 trillion, and we absolutely have to be working on that. So there are suggestions, and you're hearing from the White House now. They're trying to really demonize this and say that it's all about cutting seniors. The truth is, if you're 55 or older, you don't get affected by anything in this Ryan budget that we voted for yesterday.
Not true.
Not one thing. And so 55 and older, they wanted for people to have 10 years to kind of figure out what they're going to do. Yes, another question here. Where's the mic? Okay.
Well, I got a bunch of them.
You have to hold it up closer and turn it on. Yeah.
You really didn't want me to do that.
All right.
Okay. One of my major problems I see is the total lack of civility in defending ourselves. I mean, too much civility in defending ourselves. We get lied to, and lied to. It looked to me like the president held the military as if I'm going to cut the military first before I cut all this other stuff to get the $38 billion passed. Now somebody is going to start saying, listen, you have a constitutional requirement, and it's not to take care of the poor and to feed the sick and anything else. It's to defend the nation and the Constitution. We can't even talk about that anymore. So I'm asking, now I got a rant on. Sorry about that. We are printing 70% of our debt now, just like we've been running the Social Security. We buy treasury notes and put them in a lockbox. The Fed buys from the treasury, and then we got money to run the government on. What happens now when we're up against the debt limit? What's the approach we're gonna have to take to say, knock it off? Are we gonna raise the debt limit, or are we gonna say, you're gonna get stuck?
Yeah, I mean, you're right on point. That was the question that we pushed against Bernanke the other night at this late night meeting, was when you quit buying the debt, and you're exactly right, the feds are buying about 60 to 70% of our current treasury bills, and that's how the government borrows money. And so they're doing that, and the question has to be, when you stop, where are the people gonna come to buy those 60 or 80 billion dollars worth of treasury bills that are auctioned off every month? Last month, the single largest buyer of treasury bills quit buying, the private buyer. So now you have China, which doesn't want to buy as many. They were the biggest buyer. Then you have this guy that bought 20% of them, this hedge fund or this investment fund that bought 20% of them and quit. And Japan was a big buyer of our debt, and they're not in position. So this problem is going to accentuate in the next weeks. This is now not 2 years away, not 5 years away. These things are about to get loose from us right now, and we're still sitting up here acting like and we're talking about nothing. I have been one of the early vocal ones opposing the actions in Libya. Number one, I think our taxpayers are doing enough. Number two, I think our young men and women in the military are doing enough. Let the Europeans get involved. If they want that to change, they voted on it in the UN Security Council, let them be the ones to bear the cost in human lives and in money. So we have significant problems, and both sides are just sort of putzing around the problem. I don't know if they're trying to avoid political blame or what. I'm just saying that it's time for us to step up to the plate, start dealing with the problems. We could deal with them. They would be difficult, but we could deal with them. It's going to reach a point where we can't deal with them. So it's impending. You've got the mic.
It's right here.
Yes.
I am Dr. Hussein. I am distinguished professor.
Go up closer, a little mic closer where everybody can hear. Just get it right up to your mouth. Yeah.
I am Dr. Hussein, distinguished professor emeritus of the University of Wyoming. Now I am settled here. My daughter is a lawyer, my son-in-law is a medical doctor here. That's why I moved in here. People have to do some sacrifice. There are two things which I propose as a matter of fact. And old Senator Simpson, who is a great friend of mine and from Wyoming, he agrees on this, and he has proposed this to the president. First thing is this: you have to wipe out the deficit. Some more money you have to take from the people. And this you can take from the people who are extremely wealthy. I don't want for 100, 1,000, 200, means $500,000 or $1 million they're making. They can, in the cause of sacrifice, donate as a matter of fact some money to the government. They have built up $1 million is a lot of money. I'm a mathematician, I know. Anybody can live anywhere on $1 million a year. Secondly, which we are not doing and not even talking, you have 50,000 troops in Korea, 50,000 in Japan. You have a surplus troop in Middle East, in Persian Gulf, so much that I can't say. They're all in risk. You have so many troops sitting in Europe. I have taught in Europe. If you cut down half of the troops from Europe, not all, half Persian Gulf, take out Korea and Japan, you will wipe out all this deficit of $1 trillion. I'm giving you this as an approximation, as a matter of fact.
Right.
But think it over. Besides, do you know what you are doing? You are virtually a policeman of the entire world.
Yes.
You are hurting your own people. 1,500 people are killed in Afghanistan. About 6,000 are killed in Iraq. 40,000 are crippled in Iraq. And there are continuously people are hurting. They are your own people. They can do enormous help inside the town. See, naturally, these expenses are enormous. People do not calculate this. If you pull these troops out and give some raise means, of course, which I will be, as a Republican, people will say what I am doing. Remember, Ronald Reagan gave 10 to 11 times raise in the tax. Nobody can say about this against. And he was a great president, he had to accept. At times, it comes up and you have to do the needful thing. If you do, you will wipe out this. Extra expenses, of course, you can cut down. You have cut down this salary of the president even. Congressman, senator, they can do away with $20,000 or $30,000. Do you know it is a just? See, I am living on what is Social Security and retirement. Thank God that I retired in Wyoming. My retirement is very good, and I always get every time raise, means as a matter of fact. Being retired because it is a rich state. That is the only university. Still I pay $8,000 tax. I pay $2,500 tax in the state, what is tax, which in Wyoming it is not there. I didn't know otherwise I wouldn't have come.
You bet. Let me,
These things happen.
You bet. Let me get to a couple of your
You
questions.
see, it can be done very easily.
Yeah.
Not
Let me
that I
address a couple of these, and we appreciate the question. First of all, that is probably one of the greatest differences in opinions right now is whether we cut the 3.5 and move to the 2.2, or whether we tax people to try to move the 2.2. You see what the idea is. If you simply tax the rich, then we can collect more taxes, and we then are able to balance the budget that way. Now myself, I tend to take the other point of view that taxes kill jobs, and I can quote that to you every day. I don't believe the problem is that we're not taxing Americans enough. I don't even believe the problem is that we're not taxing the rich enough. And I went on the floor of the House. If you'd like to see a YouTube 30-minute response to that question of Obama's, President Obama suggested that we want to tax the millionaires and billionaires, and then we can make this up. The truth is, when you tax people, you're going to kill jobs. The most frequent group they say that we should tax is ExxonMobil. Okay, so we talk about ExxonMobil. They make, I don't know how many $1 billion a year, but if you look at their budget, then they turn around and they reinvest that the next year in drilling programs. And so we take all of that revenue, we take all the profits away from them, which is what Nancy Pelosi said we should do. Then you kill the drilling jobs. You kill the jobs out in the oil field all across this country, out in the Gulf. Those jobs will not be there because they suddenly don't have that money to reinvest that they reinvest every year. So this number actually becomes smaller. We've done that by regulation offshore right now in Louisiana. We killed about 100,000 jobs down there, and those people used to be paying taxes here. Now then, they're costing us money in welfare and unemployment, and they are not now producing. And so that was President Kennedy's position, that if you lower taxes, you actually get more revenues to the government. There is an economic truth that I know, or I believe, that says at about 22–23%, when the government spends about that much of our gross domestic product, that you will have stagnation. And at anything less than that, you have vitality, you have job growth. In the Bush tax cuts, you can use that as sort of a laboratory. We were bumping into the 23 to 24 range. Those tax cuts went into place in 2003, and over the next 6 years, then we actually had an increase of 7 million jobs because people started hiring again. We had gotten down below that threshold. So now we're at 24%, and if we don't take this number down, even if we try to move this one up toward it by taxing more, the problem, I don't think, is that our taxes are too low. I think that our spending is too high. And so that's the great divide that comes between the political parties in Washington, but would also explain the votes that I've been casting. Who's got the, yes?
That's your question.
Yeah, you have to get the microphone to get a question. So, anyway, we'll get to you.
I think your position on taxes is exactly right. Millionaires and billionaires can